everyone, it's Stephanie from My Porch Prints, and today we are going to be making this double folding journal. I had posted a video with a similar journal I had created and everyone was asking for a tutorial. So we are going to be making this in a video series, and we're going to start with the cover and then just kind of work our way through filling it with all these fun little things. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so to begin we're going to need to make the covers. And for that, I've got these pieces of chipboard, and you can use, just a sturdy cardboard if you want for yours. But these are already cut to 5.5 by 8.5 inches, which is half of a 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, which means they work really well for journal covers. But today we're gonna make them even smaller. These two, I'm going to be just cutting directly in half. So where's my ruler? So these are going to be cut into 4.25 inches, or just, cut in half. And you don't have to have this exactly the same as mine. You can make the dimensions whatever works best for you, as long as it's kind of similar. So if you're working with different size, cardstock or chipboard, that's okay. But just something kind of similar in size will work. And then, so these are both getting cut in half. And then this one is going to get cut into a 3-inch section and then two 1.5-inch sections. So when we're done, it's going to look like this. So 1 3-inch for the large part of the spine, and then these are going to make up 2 smaller spines. And the way that you cut these, when you measure, I'll just go ahead and show you on this one, is so 8.5, half of that is 4.25. Can you tell I don't like math? I'm always second guessing myself. Okay, and then, so that's the halfway line. And, oh, I left my X-Acto on the other side of the table. And then what you're going to do is take this blade knife and a ruler, and you're going to use a cutting mat, not this probably. I'm just going to show you, but I'm not going to actually cut through. So then you're going to just run this down until it's cut through. And I'm going to go do that on my self-healing mat. And I'll put a link to the craft mat that I use down below. It's really nice. You can cut on it, and it's called self-healing, which means that, kind of heals the cut. So those are really handy to have. And then once I get these cut out, I'll come back and we'll get started on the cover. Okay, so I went ahead and cut my pieces, and now I've got 4 of these pieces, which are 5.5 by 4.25 inches. And then I've got this piece, which is 3 inches. And then these are each 1.5. So they should be exactly half of this 3-inch piece. And we're gonna go ahead and put all of these together and start the cover for the journal. Okay, so for the cover, you're going to need 3 pieces of paper. And I just printed this. It's from our Coffee and Script papers, and I'll put a link to everything I'm using below, or well, everything I have a link for. And what we're gonna do is we're going to glue these together. So on the short side. And just so you know, I printed these. I don't have a borderless printer, so they came with a white border around the edge. You'll wanna cut that off, make sure that there's no white edges. And then we will just kind of overlap them a little bit and glue them together. Okay, and then we're going to flip this over. It's really long. And we're going to start at one end with one of our 4 larger pieces. So these 5.5 by 4.25 pieces. And then we've also got, remember, our 3-inch spine and then our 2 1.5-inch spines. So we're going to start with one of these, and it's going to go at the far end, and you're going to leave just a little bit of like, an inch, half-inch of space here between the edge and the edge of your piece. And then what's going to happen next is we're going to use one of the shorter spines another big piece, the 3-inch spine, another big piece, another small spine, and another big piece. So that's how it should look when you're done. So large, small spine, large, 3-inch spine, large, small spine, large. Oops. And I dropped one of my pieces. So we're gonna glue these down, and we're gonna leave just a little bit of space in between each one, and that's gonna make it so that the journal can fold. And I don't know if you can see here, but I am going to go ahead and glue mine closer to the top than the bottom, and we're going to cut off the excess so that there's kind of the same width of space around the top, bottom, and side. So the most important thing is just to try to keep them in line and not get, you know, off sideways, but try to keep them evenly spaced. Okay, and then once that's done, we're going to go ahead and just snip off this excess. And then I'm going to try to cut off some of the extra at the bottom as well. And don't worry, this doesn't have to be perfect. A lot of this edge is going to get covered up. Okay, and then you're also going to want to cut the corners like this. And then I'm also going to notch out around each piece. So I'm going to cut just kind of a little V shape right where this is, just like that. Okay, and now we're going to go ahead and just fold these over. And then once we have all of them folded, we'll go back and glue them down. Okay, so now you've got this long piece and all these folded ones. And I'm going to start on the long edges, and then these two short edges I'm going to glue down last. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and cover the inside of our journal. And to do that, we're going to need 3 more pieces of paper, and they don't have to be the same as the outside cover. You can use whatever you want. Most of these will probably get covered up, but I went ahead and printed these and cut the white border off. And what I'm going to do now is put them all together, and I'm going to measure kind of so that they're just slightly smaller than the inside of my journal. And I'm gonna go ahead and mark that. So hold on, let me see if I can make this a little more visible for you. Okay, so you can see there's just a little bit of a border on the outside here, and I'm going to go ahead and just mark right here where I want to cut them. And the reason that I'm going to cut them first is because if I glue them all together and try to cut them, they're too long for my scrapbook cutter. So again, just make sure that they're, you know, going to fit on the back of this panel. And then we're gonna just cut them where we marked. So we marked right here. And that's where we're cutting. All right, and if that looks good, then go ahead and just glue them together like before. Just overlap the edge a little bit and we'll glue them together. Okay, and then what we're gonna do is just line up this edge, giving it just a slight border. And we're going to go all the way to this edge. And I usually just fold it back, kind of inside, keep it straight, inside the border on this side. And that'll give me a cut line. Okay. And then I'm gonna go ahead and glue that down. And before I do that, I'm gonna just round the corners. Again, you probably won't see a lot of this, but just in case. And this is just a corner rounding punch. It comes with a small, medium, and large corner. I'm just using the medium one. And if you have an orientation like a, you know, this writing, it would be upside down if I flipped it. You might want to just double check that it's in line with the front cover so that they're not upside down from each other before you glue it. All right, and then that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go ahead and just glue it down. And you can see that where we made the notches, it's kind of showing through. It doesn't really bother me, especially after I'm finished, but if that bothers you, then, you know, don't notch them out when you're doing the front cover. You can just leave it flat across and just, I would start in the middle if you're gonna do that and work your way to the outside. That way if there's any excess, you can kind of cut it off. Okay, and then when we go to fold it, we're gonna need something to crease it with. I've got a bone folder somewhere. Okay, and what you're gonna do is just stick it in these creases and just kind of fold. You can kind of see how our cover is starting to come together. Okay, and so that is our cover, and now we're going to start filling it and decorating it.